Yep, goal setting.
Goal setting, just, I think the Z in your, and then my name doesn't have a hyphen in it, so.
I'm used to
And then,
mine being spelled that way.
October 16th, I don't know if there was an answer to number 3 under citizen comments, if there's a note on that.
It's probably on the agenda for tonight. Oh, sorry. What is the population of the schools that you're?
Yes.
That's in tonight's, Erin has it in tonight's minutes.
So it was just a question that would be answered.
Correct. It was answered that night, but we also have a breakdown tonight in Erin's report.
I saw that, I just
Yeah.
didn't know if it needed to be in the minute, if it had been answered, was, did it?
Well, it would get answered tonight
Okay.
if it wasn't answered for just then, but it
And then
was.
just the last thing is on 1016, item 11 under citizen comments, the last sentence, I think it should be currently the board is gathering framework information. So just the word framework between gathering and information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, all right.
10, 11, as amended.
Yep. 10, 11 is amended. All those in favor? 10, 26?
10, 10, 16 is amended.
And 10, 16 is amended. All those in favor?
Okay, that's 10, 26 as is.
And 10, 26 as is. Thank you. All right. We'll move right on to citizen comments. Yes, Ms. Phyllis?
I just have a quick question. I looked for the Jackson Flicks for the last board meeting. How does that work? I didn't see it. Is it?
It usually gets posted by Susan to the school website.
Oh, okay, so not the SAU 9 or the other.
It should be on our school website.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So look again, give it a shot again, because they're usually really good about putting it up there. Right. Any other citizen comments? Okay, presentation of school programs.
I have Lauren Leader here tonight to do the board, an overview of the music program. Sorry.
Darlene, don't move.
Hey, I'm Lauren Leader, and I have the pleasure of being a music teacher at our Jackson Grammar School, and I have an overview for you tonight to just explain everything that happens musically. Some questions have come up as we've discussed the strategic plan. So if anyone has questions as I'm talking, feel free to interrupt me. As you can see, there are 3 main aspects or components to our music program. We have general music, chorus, and band. And at the end, I put in a tiny bubble performances to talk to you about things that we do when we perform. So general music is when classes come, like the K1, 2 comes as a group to music class. We call that general music. They come with their group of like 5, 6 students over here to the Whitney Center with me weekly. This year it's on Thursdays, and for the older grades it's a 60-minute class, and for the younger grades, actually frequently it's more like 50 minutes, but sometimes if we have a K1 it can be as short as 45 minutes. So students get 45 to 60 minutes of general music a week, and this is a picture of some students doing a music game outside, because we like to be outside also when we can. And as far as our music curriculum, there are SAU units of study that we do in each grade, and these sometimes rotate at the Jackson Grammar School depending on the looping grades that we have. We study steady beat in the K every year, so the K1, 2 does that every year, but for example in 3rd grade, a unit of study is typically recorders. That doesn't happen every year. Sometimes it happens every other year depending on how the 3rd grade is looping. One really cool component of our curriculum is in the 6th grade we compose and we use Noteflight, which is computer writing music software that is cloud-based and starts getting students using music technology, and we try to do 5th grade ukulele play. And all of our music curriculum is based on the National Core Arts Standards, which have 4 competencies: creating, performing, responding, and connecting, which you can find in very deep detail online or on our SAU9 webpage, including all the I can statements. So that's a little overview of what we're doing in general music. And one of the coolest things I think about Jackson Grammar School that's unique to our school and different than other places is that we really focus on working together and doing integrated units. I think it's really special and it's not something that happens everywhere. And this is a list, a brainstorm list that I came up with of some of the things that we've done in the past. And by no means covers all of them, but like, for example, at the bottom, Joan and I just finished collaborating. The DAR topic this year was John Philip Sousa. So we collaborated, we listened to his music, I gave a brief history of his life, and then the students wrote their DAR essays on that. The picture at the top is a couple of years old, but it's an Oregon Trail family night that we have, and students are doing the contra dance in that picture. The picture below that is an anchor chart that I use in my class pretty much daily about mindful listening, and which relates to our SEL and guidance topics that students learn. Also this year, they've been doing some mindful listening that we're going to in French. So we all collaborate, work together to do some really awesome immersive units with the students. And that's general music. And now we're going to dive a little bit into chorus. Chorus is optional for students K through 6 and staff. This year I have like 5 staff members, I think, including Mrs. Messer, coming to chorus weekly, which is awesome. As far as I know, we're the only school in the district, SAU 913 also, that has a full school, K through 6 school anyway, chorus, which is pretty special, unique, and awesome. And this year we only have 3 or 4 students not participating in chorus, so we have easily 85% of the school population in chorus. So it happens weekly, it's a 30-minute class, we do it right after ASM on Thursdays, and the curriculum is really awesome. We do mostly unison, partner song, and rounds. We are able to sing what I would say are 5th and 6th grade level repertoire. So K1-2 students are learning music well above K1-2 level and having tons of fun. And then the band program is what frequently people have questions about. So band at our school, we have a concert band program. It's optional, it starts in the 4th grade. And the concert band program includes these 6 instruments: flute, clarinet, saxophone, trumpet, trombone, percussion. And when we learn percussion, it's a plethora of different instruments. You start on snare drum and maybe like glockenspiel, but you also learn bass drum and cymbals and triangle, etc. And so there's 2 components to the band program. One is that we have lessons. Students are pulled from class. They're individual when possible, which at our school happens a lot. We have the time and means to have individual lessons, but we also have some small group, like 2 to 3 students coming at a time. And lessons are determined by me who comes, by instrument and ability. So I might have 2 separate trumpet lessons based on, I have a first-year student, or I have a student that's been playing for 3 years, or I might have 3 trumpet players coming together because they're all starting to learn at the same time. And those also happen weekly. Tuesday is the day that all the band things are happening. They're typically 20 minutes, and our curriculum is that we are now using the Rubber Band workbook, which is a really cool music curriculum system where students all learn each other's parts, and then it helps them be more aware of what their friends are learning and doing. And we're also learning the Standard of Excellence, which is a pretty standard music band curriculum. And we're playing what's called grade 1 or 2 band music, which is very confusing because it's not for 1st or 2nd grade. It just means it's the very beginning level of band music. For example, in middle school, you might be at level 2 or 3 band music. So we're just getting started with our band program in the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. And once a week, on Tuesdays, we have band class, which in music jargon is ensemble, where all the students who play band instruments come together on the stage and practice. And the 4th graders join when they're ready, which is typically after ski season. So right now I have all 4 fourth graders learning an instrument, and they'll join us in the spring. And we meet for 30 minutes and we learn flex arrangement songs, which means songs that can be rearranged so that everybody has an easy, equal part. And I frequently end up having to do a lot of homework for band at our school because our band is so small. It's large for our school, which is awesome. We have a huge population of students participating in the band program. Once again, it's well over 80%. We only have 4 eligible age students this year not in the band program. Typically, we have 90% or above involvement in the concert band program. But because our school population is so small, we can't just buy a typical band arrangement for 60 children and make it sound good. So I end up having to rewrite a lot of the music so that we can do our best. Sometimes the kids help me do that, which is a great learning opportunity. And those are the 3 components to music at school. The last bubble at the bottom says performances, because this is what the town sees and knows about our music program, which in my opinion is great, but a little bit unfortunate also because it's just such a small component of what we're doing day to day. It doesn't cover everything that we're learning at school. It is a great window into how musical and fun our school is, but it doesn't cover everything that we're learning. So throughout the school year, we usually perform at all school meetings. We have a winter concert. This year we're bringing back caroling we used to go to Merriman House. This year we're going to go to the Adult Day Center and do some Christmas caroling. We participate in the Louis Fuchs Autonino Memorial Concert. We have a UA show in the spring. We're hopefully starting to be part of the Memorial Day Parade again. That tradition died a little bit during COVID. We weren't able to support that, but I'm hoping to bring the students back to the parade this year. And at the end of the year, we always end the year with a music recital. And as you can see, I hope you all can join us. Our winter concert this year is coming up very soon, Thursday, December 14th. It's going to be awesome. And all those groups will be presenting general music classes, chorus, and band. And that's what happens musically at Jackson Grammar School. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer?
You did a great job on Veterans Day.
Thanks.
It was fun.
We played Yankee Doodle. We sang some Thank You Veterans songs. It was a lot of fun.
Who's the best singer amongst the staff? That's what I want to know.
No comment. It would be you, Mr. Richard.
Oh, wow.
If you came and
I
sang
sing
for us.
loudly. I don't sing well, but I sing loud.
We tried.
No, the staff is awesome.
We tried.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. If you have any questions,
Great
please let me know. Yes.
Thank you. Old business?
No.
Great. Instructional issues?
Tonight.
All right. Consider personnel actions. Election of Neil Stokes as ESSC Program Coordinator.
So,
Second? Second. All those in favor? Awesome. Consider increase of hours to after-school enrichment coordinator position. We're going from 14 to 18. Recommendation, right?
So,
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Are we
Oh, is anybody want to discuss? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, actually, we zipped right past that, the ESSC. I just had a question about the ESSC too. But
Okay.
go ahead, so quickly. Are we away from Black Mountain?
Yes.
Yes.
Where are we?
Attached.
Okay. So, but over to this one now. Could you just explain a little bit about this? I read the minutes from the Personnel Committee, but it would be helpful to understand the impact on the budget and things like that, because I know that we're projecting for next year, but this looks like it's going to be a change for this year. So could you just share a little bit more about that?
So what happened was we increased our programming, our enrichment programming. I believe last year was three days a week, and we went to 4 days a week this year, but the hours never increased to reflect that. So for that position, we'll just add that extra day hours. Does that answer your question for that?
Well, I can see that, I'm just wondering,
Should ask about the budget.
what's the budget impact?
The dollar amount or the,
Dollar amount, how are we gonna make that work?
well, you have a vacant staff member that's being paid as a substitute, so with no benefits, so you will have some staffing related monies that can cover the costs this year. And when we talk about budget for next year, that's moving forward, same thing with
Yeah, that's fine, I
the
just was
other
worried about
ones.
this
Yeah.
year if we're approving it for now, so, and do we know what the total is for this year?
I don't. I
Okay.
can include that.
So we have a decrease on the next line.
Is this something that needs an immediate answer tonight? As far as you getting that
For
position?
programming.
For programming, yeah, the personnel committee approved it, we went through it and.
Right, so do you
Yeah.
know what the amount is that it's gonna?
It was negligible because it's 4 hours a week. And then we have a decrease in the next line as well for staffing, so it kind of comes out to be a wash.
Okay.
Any other questions on that, or, so, all those in favor of that? Okay, great.
Just, so for this position, it'd be about $3,500.
Okay, so for this year?
Approximately, yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, that makes me feel more comfortable. Okay.
And then we just have an FYI for a decrease in hours of the paraprofessional support position from 8 to 7. And then reactive after-school enrichment support position,
Yeah.
reactivate, sorry. Wow. Any questions on that?
So
We're gonna
as
vote
far
on
as the vote on that, the increase in hours, I would change my vote to for that. I just wasn't comfortable doing that without an actual number. So if you're recording that, Melissa, you can record that to a positive vote. And then, are we on a motion for this reactivation?
Not yet, nobody motioned yet.
Okay. I'll motion.
I'll second.
Did that need a motion? I don't think so.
Well, it looks like we have to make a decision, right?
But yeah, you know, it's consider something for us to consider, so.
I think that was the FYI and paraprofessional. We're zipping through this agenda, so
We're on
fast.
D.
It's hard to keep up.
So we are reactivate after-school enrichment support position. We're recommending that we do that, the personnel committee. So we are voting.
Oh, we're voting on the paraprofessional support position as well?
Nope,
Okay.
we're voting on D, 7D, reactivate after-school enrichment support position.
Okay. So then that doesn't need a motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my motion stands then. We would need a second, right?
Jen seconded.
Okay.
Okay.
So. Call the vote.
Any questions? Yep.
I do. So it's pretty much the same questions as the other one, which is what is the impact on the budget and what is this going to mean? Can you share that with us, if you know?
I don't have, I mean, maximum, probably around $4,000. Depending on who it is, the experience, those type of things.
And so is it just that because it wasn't being run, we didn't have the position? Because it was something
Do
that
you
was
want to
there?
take a stab at it?
Yeah, I can take a stab at it.
Yep.
So originally, the original plan was to have the paraprofessional have extended hours and come in later during the day and work through the after-school program.
Okay.
But I feel like this is a better fit for the program, having a paraprofessional in the building for the school day and make that position a separate position.
Any other questions, Jess? We're gonna-
So we had that in the budget last year, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't put it in this year's budget because it wasn't fulfilled the previous 2 years. So
We couldn't find anybody, right?
Couldn't find it.
Yeah.
So given our other staffing shortages, is there any concern that we would end up this year, if we fill all those other positions, that we would not have the money in the budget this year to cover this? Or given what we're dealing with, we would be fine covering this?
You are.
Okay, thank you.
Are we ready to make a vote? Okay, all those in favor? 7E, consider reclassification of world language tutor position.
So moved.
Second, Explain? Go ahead.
So, you folks are very fortunate to have Ms. Klein as a certified teacher working in the world language program. This hasn't always been the case. So, several years back, the position was put in as a world language teacher, or tutor, excuse me, which did not require a certification. To be classified as a teacher, you have to have a certification as a teacher. You're fortunate to have somebody with that certification. Within the personnel policies for non-contracted folks, it does say if you are certified, you'll move to the teacher's salary schedule. It just cleans up, I think it's more respectful for Ms. Klein to be known as a teacher. Should she leave, go someplace else, and you have to go back to the tutor position, you would reclassify it at that point.
So we would hope to keep it as a teacher position, though. Please don't leave, because we have been fabulous. So don't go anywhere. But just from a leadership standpoint, we would hope to keep that as a teacher position.
We would hope, we
Okay.
weren't getting anybody,
Right.
so now that we have
Right,
somebody who's
okay.
wonderful, we can keep it, so we're just clean, it's homework, cleaning up ourselves, yep.
Okay.
And showing the proper respect for the position and the education of the person who has the job. So, all those in favor? Great. Okay, budget status report? Good. Any questions on the budget?
No unanticipated issues right now, so you're in good shape.
All right, and 7B, move on to that. Consider approval request for staff member's child to attend ATS.
This is, we just received this, so you haven't walked in this evening, and a separate piece of paper. It should be in front of you. Chair.
Right.
Oh.
So I'll make a motion to approve the request for staff members, children to attend JGS as spelled out in our personnel policy.
Second. We don't have to read
Discussion,
Yes.
yes.
So, I have a copy of it.
They're attached to 11 days.
Yeah, so my concern is more with the policy. We're about to approve something, obviously, we've been asked to approve something, but in the policy, it actually says that we're going to establish a tuition each year, and that the actual cost of the specialized services provided by the district shall be assessed on each student served by the specialized program. And also, it looks like our policy hasn't been updated since 2019. So I'm a little concerned about approving something when we haven't set a tuition this year, and it looks like we haven't revisited this in several years.
I wouldn't say that's the case. I believe we have visited, we just haven't found a need to change the price, but we haven't officially. I mean, we've had other students in tuitioned in
Okay.
over the years, so this isn't the first time in 4 years or 5 years we've had somebody come before us.
Okay, so we've looked
So
at the
we've
policy,
used the
we've updated it.
policy in the past years.
Didn't we have a tuition days? No, we had a.
Last year.
Yeah, we do it every year, so every year.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking at the bottom of the document that says when we look
Right,
at the
when we
policy.
revised it, yes.
So usually, and maybe I'm confusing things, but usually there is something at the bottom that says we've reevaluated the policy, we've updated it, we've approved it, we've affirmed it. It looks like we haven't revised or approved or affirmed the policy since 2019.
Because
So
we didn't
we've-
find a need to. So go ahead.
So we've approved the policy every year that we approve a policy, so that the policy's been approved. It gets notated when there's a change or a revision to the policy. There hasn't been a change or revision to the policy since 2019.
Okay.
Last year, we spent the better part of one meeting and discussing the tuition amount and decided to leave it the same. We haven't had that discussion yet for this school year,
Okay,
but by default, if we don't change it, it stays the same.
okay,
So it doesn't need to be approved every year, if we don't approve it, it's approved when we approve the policies.
okay.
So we adopted the policies back in April, and when we adopt all of those policies, that's when we adopted it and approved that $10,000 number, which I think is still, it's right for student. and then all the other policy underneath it. It just hasn't been revised or changed since 2019. But
Okay,
we
got it.
discuss it every single year, a number of different times usually throughout the year.
Okay. So us establishing tuition then this year?
Yes.
Yes.
Have we done
We
that?
established the position back in April when we approved the policy for the year.
Okay, so and the actual cost of specialized services provided for that child, each student that's in that program. I'm just looking at the policy. It says, the actual cost of specialized services provided by the district shall be assessed on each student served by the program.
Correct,
So-
it's on an individual student basis need.
Okay,
Yep.
so has that work been done before we approve this policy, before we approve this request, is what I'm wondering? Yeah,
Go ahead, thank you.
So if there are special ed services that a student is carrying from another district over to here, there would be calculations that are done, and those would be disclosed to the parent,
okay,
should those be required. The Jackson School District is not responsible for paying for those services.
okay. So we don't pay for special education services if a student has them here?
If they're tuition
If they're
in.
If they tuition in,
From out of district.
Oh, okay.
so let's say that a student required a one-to-one aid.
Okay,
The town residents of Jackson
yeah,
would not be responsible for those costs
okay, I got you.
if the student were from Conway or Bartlett or wherever else.
Okay, so we've approved the amount, I wasn't on the board at the time, so if the board has approved the amount here, this fiscal year, for this tuitioning in.
We haven't changed it, so it's
Okay,
approved.
so it's approved. Okay, got it.
So this board policy is established by this board, which was formed in April, which stays in effect through March. That's outside of the fiscal year, it's also outside of the school year.
Right,
So the different things overlap, so that's why it's, the approval of the policy doesn't coincide with the school year, which also doesn't coincide with the fiscal year. It coincides with the school board year for when we adopt our policy for the year, which again, we did back in April.
right, which is why I'm asking the questions, because I wasn't here for any of those things. So I feel like in order to do what I think is our job as a board.
Oh, absolutely, I'm
I feel like-
just explaining to you how it works.
Any other questions? No? All right, so all those in favor? Jeff, did you vote on this?
I'm just reading the end of it.
Okay.
Did someone evaluate the amounts here? Because there are several students involved and several amounts prorated that I'm not sure of the calculations since we just handed this at the beginning of the meeting. So did anyone evaluate this for the amounts?
For the one student?
Well, there are several students involved and then there's a prorated amount. So I just want to make sure if the numbers check out, I'm fine with it. It's just I haven't been able to sit here and do that. I'm in support of the actual
Yes.
tuition.
Yeah, we're a little behind the eight ball. Yes, this has already been calculated out, and the
Okay.
math's already been done. This should have been,
Raise
go
your
ahead.
hand.
Assuming that the student comes in when they say they're coming in and they leave when they do. So when Susan either accepts a student, then it goes to the ADM. So if a student were to move in tomorrow, we've had now 62 days of school. So we'd have the additional days that they would be paying for. If a student leaves today or leaves 3 weeks from now, we would take the number of days that they were in attendance and we would prorate the cost. So the number that's projected here is not an exact number. We won't know that until the student actually leaves. And then they'll get a bill for whatever portion of the year they're here.
Okay. And so am I just understanding this is just for the first quarter, the first trimester, the first quarter, and then the student will be gone?
Yeah.
No, the student's coming, isn't it?
No, the student's leaving.
One of
One's
them.
leaving and two are
One's
coming.
leaving.
This is obviously a complicated arrangement, so it looks like two are coming and one is leaving.
Mhm.
Or one is not, one is continuing their education elsewhere. So they will.
In their resident town.
But has been present here because they're paying prorated tuition for them. So they started here, but the person moved. So there's a prorated amount for that
Yeah.
one student.
For that one student,
So that would be one-time payment, then they're done.
correct.
And then the other two are coming in, and that will be at the full amount, but in the 4 quarterly payments as stated in our policy.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
You kind of have it, if I could clear it up just a little bit.
Please do, because
So there are two students. They lived in a different town, okay? So by rights, we should have received this letter back at the beginning of the school year. We did not. This person has disclosed that they have been living in a different town with 2 children here.
Okay.
By policy, the first child is $0, and the second one is $2,500,
Okay,
okay?
yes.
So the second child is the one that's going to be billed, but they're leading. So instead of the 2,500, they would pay whatever that proration is. If it's exactly 60 days,
Okay,
then it would be 33% of the $2,500. The first child still remains free tuition.
so basically, we're going to end up with the one prorated amount for the
Yes, correct.
second child.
Yeah,
Because the first one is,
Great.
it's covered.
got it.
Yeah.
And then after Thanksgiving, then it would just be the one child in here.
That's correct. And they wouldn't pay them. Yeah.
The third child was a figment of my imagination.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah,
That's what I'm looking for.
it's looking all over my paperwork.
You have 3 kids, Jim.
That's right. Sometimes I forget I have a third one.
Different place.
Sorry, thank you. I'm caught up now.
Good work. So how was your vote?
I will vote for
We
it.
haven't voted yet.
We did, you raised your hand and Jessica. Okay. Mr. Richard?
Yep, just a few things. The Assistant Superintendent was elected by the SAU 9 Board, Dr. Amy Frechette. We're transitioning her over to the office. Superintendent search has gone live. It's been out there for about a week. It's gone national, international, however you choose to. So that will stay open for a couple of months. There is an SAU Executive Board meeting on November 30th at 6 p.m. There's some staffing pieces we need to take a look at to make a recommendation to the full board. And other than that, we are working on budget development. So we had our first preliminary meeting with Erin. One of the things that we felt prudent, Jim Hill and myself and Erin, had a walk through the building. Were you going to talk about that? Steal your thunder
No,
for a
go
little
ahead.
bit. One of the pieces is that, there's some unique situations up here in Jackson that has kind of been on its own for a while. And getting an outside group to come in and take a look at all the HVAC systems, some of the security systems, some of the camera systems. In fairness to Erin, she's been trying to learn, but there's a lot to that. So we need to build in some redundancy through systems to do that. So we're bringing somebody in to kind of do a commission walk through the building, give us a report, and then if there are things that need to be added to the budget, we'll bring that forward through the budget process. So that's pretty much the report for now.
Thank you. Any questions for Kevin? Erin?
Okay, so for a small school, we are certainly very busy doing lots of great things. I do want to note in my report, there was an error at the bottom. For some reason, my closing from the last report got added. So under closing, that is irrelevant. So I apologize for that. Some exciting things I just want to highlight is that our playground committee's been meeting, or moving forward. We have our equipment ordered. It's scheduled to be here at the beginning of May. And so right now what we're doing is just working on what the site plan would be and looking at how we would put a community build together. So we have some information on that, so when we can get that moving in the spring. So that's exciting. Like Kevin said, we met and did a walkthrough with Siemens. So one thing that has come up is looking at a breakfast program. Lisa White and we had talked about the possibility of what that would look like in Jackson. So I just wanted to put that as informational for now. So I'm working with Lisa and Jim and Bartlett to look like, what would that look like in Jackson to offer our students breakfast in the morning. So once I have more information and solid facts about that, I will report that out as well. I have listed our current openings under staffing. I want to highlight that on November 9th, we had an all-school meeting, a veterans program, which was well attended, and it was great to see the kids up on stage, kind of just recognizing our local veterans. So that was a wonderful program. What else? We had our first, I believe that's our first JGS turkey trot this afternoon, where the kiddos participated. And there's going to be a community turkey trot on Thanksgiving that Kathleen's been working on. So I think we had about 50 participants registered. It's great. So some of that will go towards funding, hopefully fundraising for our wellness community. We're hoping to bring our Girls on the Run program to Jackson in the spring, which there are fees associated with that. So we're really excited about that. Our wellness committee has been really active this fall. So that's some exciting things. I did include just some preliminary data, like I mentioned. This is just a real big overview. I didn't really drill down into statistic to the finer details, but just wanted to give you an overview of where we fell with the New Hampshire State Assessment. And as you can see, compared to state data, we did pretty well. So I think that's positive. More work to do. I'm hoping, our math is low, but I'm hoping with our new curriculum and over time, we'll see those scores going up. We've had a lot of positive feedback about our new math curriculum, so I'm hopeful with that. And as you can see, we did our NEWA in the fall. And this year, in the past, we've measured fall to spring, but this year we're measuring fall to, we've measured fall. We haven't done fall and spring, we've done fall to fall. So this year we're measuring fall to fall. So be able to report on that growth data in the spring. Yes.
So you gave us data on both the SAS and the NEWA, and not tonight, but I'm wondering if you could come back and share a little bit more about how you see using this data and what these tests mean for you, because
Absolutely.
obviously educators are using them for different things, and there's a big difference from what I can tell in our performance on the SAS and the NEWA and over time. And I think people can interpret that differently, but I'd love to hear how you're interpreting it and what that means for our students.
Absolutely, I can do that.
And if you could just talk a little bit, I think in a small school, it seems like the numbers can get very skewed very easily. So
Yes.
if you could talk about that when you come back, or not, and it doesn't matter when you do that, but
Okay.
I would really like to be educated better about that, because one of the things that we talked about at our goal setting was how we can help set course and support district goals and strategic planning. And when I looked at these numbers, one of the things I was thinking about was, okay, it looks like we are weak in math, but then I read your report and you're working on math, so you're obviously aware of that. So one thing that's just in the back of my mind is, how do we as a board support that, right? You're doing something, so let's let you do that, but how do we work as a partner with you? And I think part of that is making sure we're educated about what is the NEWA, what is the SAS, how do we keep using those as tools, not as end result, be all and end alls for our students. Does that make sense?
It certainly does. Yes.
Okay.
I can do that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a comment. It's totally kind of more a little lighthearted. So a couple weeks ago, I looked out the window one morning, and my husband goes, "Look, there's people." And I live on the golf course. There's people over there. More people. Come look. And I go there. I don't know, 35 maybe, 35 people marching on the golf course. They were walking for their morning. I did get a chance to speak to Lisa because I called Susan right away because I was so excited. I said, "Did you see all those people?" I mean, they were all the way. I'm on the other side of the golf course by Shannon Doors, so they were away from the school a ways, and there they were. And I don't know, it was like 7:45 in the morning, and they're out there walking. And I know they had done it another time, but so that was really.
So that's our Friday morning. They hosted a wellness walk where families and students would come and walk before school started. We fed them breakfast, so that was pretty awesome.
It was really
High
cool.
participation.
Although we were walking on the golf course.
Yeah, there you go. Well, they were sick.
Staff the greens.
I know.
Yeah. Erin, do you guys foresee staying with this math program for a few years?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
because we've been bouncing around.
I hope so, yes. I think it's a pretty solid math program, and I think we've got pretty good feedback, and we can already see, like, you know, it's working with, I think, it's hard to tell in first year,
Right.
but watching like student engagement with it, and the teachers, like, we're getting, they're well supported with professional development. So I think that's key in any program that we, teachers have to support, and we have lots of opportunity for professional development.
I'd just like to see some continuity.
Absolutely. And that's what you see in
To see
these
really
have that.
if it really takes. You know, it's hard to switch around all the time.
I like what I see so far with it. I think my teachers do too, so
Great.
it's positive.
All right, anything else you want to add? Any other questions? No? Okay. All right, board member issues, we have the high school tuition agreement. And
Questions for the attorney in the packet were questions that Jessica had forwarded, and we said if you as school board members had other questions, let me know, and then we can send it off to the attorney, just to get some.
I'm good with these questions, I don't have any more at this time. I gotta find out more. Anybody else? Did anybody else add to Jessica's questions?
I don't, well, I just have the opinion, I think these questions are premature for the attorney. I mean, some of these we can answer right now, but they're too broad. Like, they're not specific enough for our attorney. It's not how we use our attorney. These are questions more for, like, if we had budgeted for an attorney to help us determine these things. And we don't, how much a year do we budget for our attorney? It's not a lot.
I think it's.
You guys try 10 grand, 10 grand?
I thought it was 5.
It might be 5.
If it's 10, then we've got a fair amount of room, and it doesn't bother me, but these, I think, are questions that would be appropriate for the New Hampshire School Board Association and DRA. And that's where you would begin with most of these questions. But, like, for instance, like the question about advice on how we engage in contract discussions with the town of Conway. I don't know how Barbara Loman will answer that question, but I would think that she would recommend that we consider budgeting for an attorney to help us through that process. And I don't think Barbara Loman would be that attorney that would help us do that, but that's not why we have that attorney on retainer per se. Those are the kind of questions on why we belong to the New Hampshire School Board Association, though. And typically, it's just the board chair that communicates with the New Hampshire School Board Association, but that doesn't prevent us from authorizing other school board members to do the same. And I think that, just my own personal take on this, these questions are premature for our attorney, for the way we use our attorney, and would be perfectly acceptable to throw these questions at the New Hampshire School Board
Just a
Association.
quick question, point of order, is there a motion that we're considering?
No.
No.
We're just in a discussion.
Where's it?
I know, but I think.
That's not a point of order.
I'm
That's
just
not a point
wondering-
of order.
What I'm wondering is why are we having a discussion if there's not a motion or something that's actually being moved forward?
Because we're having a discussion.
We're just
We
having,
don't have to have a
vote on
discussion. We
it.
can vote to not have this discussion if we want to, but again, that's not a point of order.
Okay, however you want to say it, what I'm wondering is what,
Do you want to stop this discussion right
what
now?
I'd like to make the motion
You
to
can-
move them forward. Move the questions forward, let's take a vote. I'd like to make a motion that these
Do
questions.
you want me to stop talking?
No, you're welcome to talk, I just wanted to be for
I'm
a minute.
confused because you asked for a point of order, which wasn't a point of order while I was talking. So are you trying to get me to stop talking?
What, I just want to make sure that we're talking.
Or are you trying to make a motion while I'm talking?
I wanted to make a point that I'd like us to be talking for a reason, Jerry, so that it's not simply to.
I'll stop talking then. You
So
can make
that-
your motion and we can do whatever.
I
you
just
want.
want to make it for that we're talking for a purpose, because
Gotcha,
I want it to be so that we're moving forward, that's all.
gotcha.
We were moving forward, it was just a discussion, so we were having an open discussion amongst the board about the questions.
So if you want to make a motion to send these questions to the attorney, you can. I don't think that's something you really need a motion for, but go ahead and make your motion and we
I'm
can
sorry,
have.
last meeting you said we needed a motion to do that, and that there needed to be a motion for there to be a discussion. So you've corrected me twice on that since I've been on the board, so I really was just trying to follow what you have instructed me to do.
Motion, I'll second. All right, I think think we can open for discussion. I do agree that I would first, rather than spend our money, I would like to pass these through the School Board Association and see what they have to say. Because I think we could get some answers and some clarity on these, as Jerry has mentioned, and Kevin has mentioned this in the past, without spending money with Barbara. And I'm not sure, I don't deal with Barbara very often until this year, but I don't think these are her questions, again, but I think the right choice would be to go to the School Board Association first. So that's where I would direct it.
That's fine, and if I can speak to that, because I'm fine as long as the board votes and the majority makes the decision. But the New Hampshire School Board Association on their website, when you look to them for decisions and what they actually do, when you go to them for questions of this nature, and I'm quoting from their website, it says, "The New Hampshire School Board Association can best assist your school board by answering questions of a general nature, especially questions that can be answered by reference to state statutes, regulations, school board policies. If an answer hinges on detailed facts, our staff attorney may recommend that your board consult your school district's regular counsel. These kinds of complex situations require fact-specific analysis in order to give you a legally sound answer. In those situations, such an inquiry may be beyond the scope of our legal services. Also, since the New Hampshire School Board Association does not represent member school boards in court, your board's regular legal counsel, the attorney who will represent you if the matter ends up in court, is the most appropriate person to ask." So I'll respectfully just put forward that it's fine to start with the School Board Association, but I would ask that we get an actual legal answer to these questions, because I think we owe it to the public for them to understand the parameters of the decisions that must be made down the line. And if we could actually get this to move forward, and that's why I'm making the motion.
So I think going to the School Board Association would be the first way, and what they respond with would be a correct legal answer, if they have the answer. If they don't, and they push us back and say, you need to go to legal counsel, then we cross that bridge when we get to it. So I'm kind of moving things forward in that fashion. And Darlene, any discussion?
No, I'm not sure what the motion is. I need to know.
To move these questions forward to the School Board Association for answers.
Is that it, or is it to the attorney?
So,
That's
yeah,
I mean, I'm not
just
sure.
like last
Yeah.
month,
That's what
I'm just looking to move them forward, so they will get to a process where we start to get answers for this conversation. So if we want to start with the School Board Association, I'm fine with that. And ultimately, I would like an actual expert to answer these questions for us. So that's fine with the School Board Association. If they come back to us, I trust those guys. If they say, we'll take these, and these go to an attorney, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So we're going to move these questions forward to the School Board Association. So,
Did you guys vote?
we all in favor of that?
No,
Okay. Jerry is opposed. Thank you. All right. Personnel Committee reports. We've already voted on everything there.
There just are a few recommendations I like.
Yes, thank you.
That will be incorporated into the budget process, and then the board can weigh in on that, adjustments to the support staff. To be more competitive, we did review surrounding areas. There were also a couple of other recommendations in the policies, as well as adjusting the teacher's schedule. So those changes, the policy change will go to the policy committee, and then they'll come to the board for review. But other pieces, as far as wage adjustments for the non-contracted folks, those will be added into the budget. And then you can discuss it that
Okay, goal setting consideration, Jessica?
Oh, did you want me to say something about it? Yeah, so this was just, you had asked me to submit, after our goal planning, I came back to the board and said, I think that we should add a goal that, much like every educator in our district, and as is best practice for many school boards, that we add professional development for ourselves. And it was a contested topic, but I submitted the language that I thought that could start our conversation. We can edit it or revise it. And that's it.
No, I think it makes sense. I mean, we discussed it during our goal setting session. I think it's broad enough and specific enough at the same time. So, I'm fine with adding that in.
Finding what it
It's, I'm sorry, the board will participate in annual professional development, including training with the New Hampshire School Board Association at least once per year to stay current on laws and work toward best practices and leadership behaviors that effectively advance our district's strategic planning goals. Let's just stay current.
And we're talking about adding this to the goals that we already approved. Okay, so,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Yes.
this.
It
Yes,
says other goal,
so motion to
it
add
says goal for it. So it is a
to the
goal.
board's goals, the verbiage noted in CA.
So who made the motion?
I'm reading it, so. Darlene, you want to make a, Jerry, you want to say, make a motion?
I'm not making a motion, I'll pass it.
Okay. Somebody needs to make a motion or to move forward.
Oh, to add it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll make the motion. Sorry, I thought that Jordan made the motion, I'm sorry.
Um,
I'll second. All right, vote. All those in favor? Okay. No, opposed? Thank you. All right.
Melissa, do you need a copy of?
You need a copy?
You have it.
Okay.
Can I just add one quick, just a bit of news? The Superior Court today found school funding unconstitutional. So as far as PD and keeping updated on things, that there's a New Hampshire legislative update coming up on December 12th. That's free. The New Hampshire School Board Association, who we all are a member of, they're going to be talking about a legislative preview, but that's going to be a very big topic because they basically said that it is not, the amount that they're coming up with is not adequate, and it is going to be a very big deal this year. So that's one of the reasons why I put that forward, was I think as a board we should really be
Yeah, that's-
up to date on that stuff so we can support Evan and Aaron and the other principals.
Thank you.
This has been a can that's been kicked down the road for the last 30 years, and it's probably going to get kicked down the road for the next 30 years. But I would add that Jackson does have a pretty big threat coming down the road as far as being a donor town to the lack of funding for education in the state, and that's probably our biggest threat, and that's completely out of our control. We've avoided it for the last 33 years. Will we avoid it for the next 33 years? I doubt it, but we'll see. And 30 years ago, we were looking at a budget impact of $500,000 a year. I don't know what it would be like today, but as Jeff said, we should be paying attention to it over the next couple of years to see what the legislature comes up with. And over the last 23 years, it keeps kind of getting stalemated because no matter how they tweak the funding, they always come up with a few donor towns. Us, Ryan, Moltenboro, or
Bartlett.
and Bartlett are usually, some of the towns get whacked that way, but we're just gonna have to kind of hope that the legislature doesn't come up with a formula that backs us hard.
Okay, CB, request email from Doug Clement. I would like to move this back to the Personnel Committee for further review. My vote on it. I'd like to make a motion to put Doug Clement's email back to the policy for personal review.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Okay. The date for the next meeting is December 18th at 6 p.m. and the school district meeting is March 7th at 7 p.m. And the budget hearing is February 8th, and the Bartlett Jackson Policy Committee meeting is the 27th. And we consider January meeting date of January 15th. I would assume that's not a Monday.
The Monday is.
Monday,
Martin
Oh,
Luther
Martin
King
Luther
holiday.
King,
Yeah.
so 15th, I don't know, is that Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday.
Okay, thank you. And then we have, unfortunately,
What you just defined?
there was no, oh, well, we'll just move our January meeting to the 15th.
To Martin Luther King Day, so the holiday? Is it the 15th, the day before is a holiday?
The day before, the 14th.
So the 14th would be the
So is
holiday.
the 15th a holiday?
I thought the 15th was the
It-
holiday.
it-
I don't know.
Whatever the, oh, yes, so it should be the 16th, moving to the
Hold on.
16th, I apologize.
January 15th is a Monday, so
Yeah.
it would be the 15th, 16th would be the meeting day.
That's correct. My calendar, sorry, the cheat.
Oh, that's fine. The Tuesday after the holiday.
Yeah.
Okay. And we just received a letter coming in, so this would be C, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, after D. Unfortunately, Darlene has submitted her resignation effective tonight, after tonight's meeting. So I don't know if we have to accept that or not. I would like not to, but thank you very much for all your time, your energy, and your learnings and everything you've brought to this board. I cannot thank you enough for everything you've done for us.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Kevin, you're always there. When I call over, I always get a phone call back, always. So I appreciated that over all these months, so you've been there. And the other thing I'll miss so much is the Whitney Center. I love that committee. In fact, I was a recipient the other day, knock, knock on my door, and they came in with a cheering up basket to the people that are needing cheering up in the town. And I was a recipient for the first time, which, you know, after having my surgery, they came to the door with them. And I couldn't wait till they left to go through my little basket of cookies and all the gifts. So I will miss that committee, but maybe I can sneak on there as a member of the town, so.
But thank you very much.
Somebody should make a motion to accept it.
We don't have, no.
Yes, you need to, I know.
Motion to accept Darlene's resignation. All those in favor with regret?
Thank you, darling.
Thank you. Citizen comments? We had a few stragglers. Yes, Ms. Elmer?
I'm just curious, how many other schools in the district provide breakfast? Do, like Conway, the Conway schools provide?
Yeah, the Conways do, and Bartlett does as well.
The Bartlett does too, okay. Yeah, just.
Any other questions? No? Okay. No non-public this evening?
No.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a great Thanksgiving. I don't know.
My friend Darlene.
No. Yeah, so we're going to my sister's.
But that would be like very.
Very
Really needed somebody to run around at like.
You were, you still are.